Asingene-ke sibingelele kuzo zonke iy'ndawo la kufinyelela khona umsakazo Insimbi online radio. Igama lami ngiyosiphelele umphathi waKanonkosi. Kanti-ke le i-The Talk on Insimbi. La sikhuluma khona nabantu abasha sizwe nje ukwehlukahlukana kwemibono ngezinto ezithize, ikakhulukazi-ke ezishisa-ke ibuzi. Sizwe ukuthi-ke ukuphawula kwabo bona ngabe-ke kuhamba kanjani. Asithathi-ke nombani, asikhulumi nanombani, kepha siyabheka abantu abasha abakuma-structures ehlukahlukene emphakathini bese kube yibona-ke esixoxisana nabo sizwe-ke izimvo zabo, ngoba-ke kubalulekile ukuthi-ke ngempela mangabe siba nazo lezi ngxoxo kube ukuthi-ke sithatha abantu abenza okuthize-ke emphakathini. Namhlanje-ke sivakashelwe noma sihanjelwe-ke uyena laphana-ke u-the nation builder, bathi-ke uSakhisizwe waKaMbuthuma, unobhala jikelele we-Harding Youth Society, okuyi-organisation yabantu abasha emuzi wabantu esebenza wonke-ke amawadi wakhona-ke emuzi wabantu. Mfoka Mbuthuma, asikubingelele sikwamukele emsakazweni Insimbi online radio.
Ngibingelela umsakazi, ngibingelele bonke nabalaleli emakhaya. Ngiyabonga ithuba.
Lana ngifuna sikhulume ngezinto ezimbalwa kodwa futhi-ke ezibaluleke kakhulu njengoba sibuka nje ukuthi ezweni naku isimo asizinzile kahle. Kuningi nje esikhathini esincane sesikubonile kwenzeka. Engifisa ukuthi-ke sithi ukubhekisisa kahle ukuthi-ke ngabe ngempela abantu abasha emuzi wabantu bona bame kuphi, babona kanjani kuyo yonke lento-ke eyenzakalayo. Kodwa ngaphambi ukuthi siqhubeke kakhulu, ngifuna ukuthi-ke mhlampe-ke siqale laphaya sichaze ukuthi yini i-white monopoly capital, kanjalo futhi-ke ne-radical economic transformation. Ke sikwenze ukuthi umlaleli akwazi ukuthi ayehlukaniseleke lezi zinto lezi. Ungakwazi ukuthi usichazele lokho kokubili ukuthi kusho ukuthini amagama lawo esijwayele ukuthi siweze kakhulu kwezepolitiki mangaba esetshenziswa. Yini i-white monopoly capital, yini i-radical economic transformation?
Ngibonga ithuba msakazi. Again ebengathanda nje futhi ukuthi ngikucacise kakhulu or ngikubeke kuqala ngaphambi kokuthi ngiphendule umbuzo ukuthi amagama lawo white monopoly capital and radical economic transformation amagama asetshenziswa almost everywhere kulesikhathi samanje. Amagama asethanda ukuba general kakhulu. A lot of people are aware of the meaning of these words. Abanye they might not be aware of them ukuthi achaza ukuthini. Well, angifuni ukwanda kakhulu kulawo magama, ngifuna nje ukuzama ngawo yonke indlela ukuthi ngibe mfushane. Masikhuluma nge-white monopoly capital as for ukuqala, suke sikhuluma lapho ngokubanjwa komnotho la khona usuke ubanjwe by abantu abamhlophe kuphela. And la eSouth Africa ila sibhekene khona nesimo esikanjalo sokuthi khona umnotho wase-South Africa singazitshela ukuthi thina yes ukuthina just because ugovernment obusayo owabantu abamnyama, but if usubhekisisa uyabona ukuthi it's certain individuals abamhlophe okuyibona ababambe umnotho. Even black people ongathi mawuthola ukuthi they are counted amongst abantu aba-rich la eSouth Africa, but you'd find ukuthi nabo they are shareholders kulama companies wabantu abamhlophe. It's not because they are abantu aba-independent abazimele bona ngokwabo. So into kanjalo i-white monopoly capital ila khona sikhuluma ukuthi kubanjwe umnotho by certain individuals who happen to be white people. And then when it comes to radical economic transformation ila-ke manje sesikhuluma ngokuthi lo mnotho obanjwe abantu abamhlophe siyawushifta siwubuyisela ezandleni zabantu abamnyama. Simple like that. Ngiyabonga.
Right. Mhlambe ngaphambi nje siqhubeke kakhulu neminye imibuzo, ngiyafisa ukwazi ukuthi ibuphi ububi obuza ne-white monopoly capital ikakhulukazi emntwini omnyama. Iziphi nje izinto ongathi cha ziyaphazamisa kakhulu? Kungani mhlambe kufanele kuliwe nayo i-white monopoly capital?
I-white monopoly capital isilwane esibi. Ngicela ukucacisa lokho ukuthi kuyisilwane esibi ngoba i-white monopoly capital ayigcini ngokuthi isicindezele nje financially, isicindezela na mentally. A lot of people banenkolelo yokuthi uma ngase kuthiwa abantu abamhlophe abekho i-South Africa angeke izikwazi survive. Usually they even make an instance or an example about iZimbabwe, bathi eZimbabwe kwahamba belungise iZimbabwe yasala iphelele.
Bangasurvive ngoba abantu mangaba bengekho abelungu.
I won't even go there, sir, because And that on its own is a statement that disrespects and that looks down upon black people. Isenza sibuke ngathi kushuthi we are subhuman. Isenza sibuke ngathi as abantu abamnyama kushuthi khona izinto esingeke sikwazi ukuzenza thina just because of of the color of our skin. Of which that can never be true, because the only difference between a white and a black person is the color of the skin, nothing else and nothing more. So ayikho into ekwazi ukwenziwa umlungu engeke akwazi umuntu omnyama ukuthi ayenze. As a matter of fact, a black person can do much more better than a white person. It's just that inkinga esibhekene nayo right now ukuthi isilwane esibhekene naso kakhulu right now i-corruption. Yona nto esivimbezelayo ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi si-achieve zonke lezi zinto esifuna ukuthi sizi-achieve. Yona nto emile endleleni yethu ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sithole le economy esifuna ukuthi siyithole ibuyele ezandleni zethu. Corruption kanye nabo-ke manje labo ngqonkulu ababambile umnotho abenza sure ukuthi abantu abamnyama bafinyeleli ekutheni bakwazi ukuthi bawubambe umnotho ubuyele ezandleni. So yona problem esibhekene nayo, but otherwise i-white monopoly capital isilwane esibe kumele sizame by all means ukuthi silwa naso. Uma ngabe silwa naso singasinqobi, the following generation must continue to fight where we left off. It must never, we must never be comfortable until white monopoly capital has been defeated. Thank you.
Uzothi omunye abantu abamnyama into ejwayele ukuthi ishiwo sijwayele ukuthi sizwe abantu uma bezikhulumela nje bezixoxela, ikakhulukazi ke abaseyindaweni zasemakhaya abasemazingeni aphansi ukuthi kwakungcono kakhulu izwe lisabuswa umlungu, kumanje njengoba selizandleni zabantu abamnyama nje hayi khona ba-prefer baze bafise nokuthi engazi ukuthi lingabuyela ebalungwini. Mangabe bakhuluma indaba yokubuyiselwa komhlaba baze bathi isifiso sabe esikhulu sokuthi kungenzeki lokho ngesizathu sokuthi abantu banawo amasimu kodwa abawasebenzisi. Kusho ukuthi mangabe bengahamba belungu ingabhubha iSouth Africa. Ukuthini kwakho ukuphawula kulokho?
Well, kunzima because yabona this thing goes back to mental slavery. A lot of us are mentally enslaved ngendlela eyisimanga, up to an extent ukuthi singaze sigcine sesikholela ekutheni izwe lalibuseka kangcono under abelungu. Because you have to ask yourself one question ukuthi mangabe uthi izwe lalibuseka kangcono kusaphethe abelungu, lalibuseka kangcono kobani, for obani, who benefited during term yabelungu? The time kuphethe abelungu ubani oy benefited the most? Were black people part of iplan yabelungu? Because we must understand one thing ukuthi abantu bahlukaniswe. It was this thing called segregation, whereby people were segregated. Black people were put on one side, Indians were put on one side, coloreds were put on one side, and then white people were put on one side. So in that manner, the only people who benefited the most were white people, followed by Indians and coloreds. And then the black people, akekho umuntu omnyama ongangitshela ukuthi izwe laliphethwe kangcono under abelungu ebe yena engingambuza ukuthi yini wena wayithola under abelungu abesengakwazi ukuthi aphendule. Bazothi hayi babesasikwazi ukuthi siqashwe, babekwazi ukuthi baqashwe, yes, but they were not, it was not even proper employment. It was slavery, because babeshawa even ukushawa kulezi ndawo babesebenza kuzona. They had no rights, they had nothing. So you cannot then say ukuthi khona into enhle eza nomlungu. The only thing beautiful eqhamuka nomlungu, it was only going towards other white people, not black people. So you must be able ukuthi understand ukuthi there's nothing better, or ayikho into enhle ugovernment wabelungu owake wayenza for umuntu omnyama. Lokho kumele sikufake emqondweni yethu kuhlale kugxile futhi ukuthi ayikho into enhle umlungu ake ayenza, ugovernment wabelungu ake ayenza eyenzela umuntu omnyama.
Ngabe i-radical economic transformation i-tool right yokulwa noma yokubhekana ngqo ne-white monopoly capital?
Well, I'm not a fan, or I'm not familiar with the radical economic transformation to be precise, because perhaps kumele ngicacise ukuthi I by politically wise, I'm affiliated with economic freedom fighters.
All right.
So I believe in the policies. I believe in the 7 cardinal pillars of the EFF. I believe ukuthi those seven cardinal pillars of the EFF are a great tool that could bring us economic freedom le esikhuluma ngayo. Abona if we can take those 7 non-negotiable cardinal pillars of the EFF and put them into practice, trust me, everything could be in order in no time.
Angazi noma ngizobe sengikunikeza umsebenzi onzima mangithi mhlambe ake uwaliste lama cardinal pillars mhlambe oyi7 kodwa ke mhlambe ke singakafiki lapho ngiyafisa ukuthi singene nasendabeni yokuthi your personal feelings about the arrest of the former president uMr Jacob Zuma athina ama feelings wakho kulokho kungani uzizwa ngalendlela uzizwa ngayo?
Well, I must say one thing regarding the arrest of Jacob Zuma. At first, I didn't feel anything. I must be honest about that thing.
Okay.
I believe Guti, everyone must be treated equally. When it comes to umthetho. Akekho umuntu akumele afile abe superior than umthetho. Everyone must be equal before the law.
Yes.
In that way sizokwazi ukuthi idemocracy yethu isebenzele ngalendlela sonke sifuna isebenzele ngayo.
Yes.
Otherwise, if there are certain people who are going to be more equal than others, it is going to be a bit problematic because it is going to cause indaba yokuthi kuzoba khona abantu who won't be able ukuthi ba prosecute just because bazobe bekhala ukuthi there are people who are more equal than others. So it's a problem. But ke mina ngokulandela isimo nawe ukuthi ngibone ukuthi lento enze kanjani because I was not even following it properly. But ngithe mase ngiyibonile seyenzeka ngabona indlela ekwenzeka ngayo ngathi no, let me go back and see ukuthi what transpired in the first place. Inenza ukuthi abantu badinwe ngalendlela. And only to find ukuthi no, there were a lot of mistakes that we can esingakwazi iswaphike up enza ukuthi ivele kubonakala ukuthi this thing was some sort of a plot or something like that. I don't want to say it was a plot, but indlela ekwenzeke ngayo makes it look like it was a plot. So firstly, so indlela ekwenzeke ngayo ukuthi uJacob Zuma aboshwe, indlela aboshwe ngayo iyona enza ukuthi umuntu agcine eseshintsha umqondo nangendlela abecabanga ngayo about this whole situation.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Right. We-interpreta kanjani into yokuboshwa kwakhe uZuma? Ngabe i-Constitutional Court ngokubuka kwakho yathatha isinqumo esikahle ungavumi kwabantu ukuthi aboshwe ngokwakho kuchazana?
Well, I think engakusho nje ukuthi a lot of things were unfair in this prosecution of Jacob Zuma. I believe ukuthi firstly, if Judge Zondo was not satisfied about ungavumi kaZuma ukapherisha before the commission, at least he was not supposed to take the case to a constitutional court, because we must understand ukuthi Judge Raymond Zondo is a member of the constitutional court. He sits there. He's the deputy Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court, who's currently acting as the Chief Justice as we speak. So now, uma ngabe thatha icala elisa constitutional directly or straight to Constitutional Court. Firstly, it makes it unfair on uZuma. Secondly, it makes it unfair on the basis yokuthi angeke azakwazi ukuthi uZuma appeal because it is the last court on earth. So that makes everything unfair. So at least we are supposed to take the court case not to Constitutional Court, at least to the High Court, so that ezokwazi ukuthi if i-High Court ithatha isinqumo akwazi ukuthi appeal to the Supreme Court of Appeals. If i-Supreme if ingekho satisfied nge-decision ye-Supreme Court ayithathe ke manje igcine ifinyelela e-Con Court. So ziningi izinto ezenzekile that were not fair. And another thing yokuthi uvele wagwetshwa nje without a proper trial, because we must understand ukuthi i-constitution yala South Africa speaks very loud about ukuthi everyone has a right ukuthi prosecute. Actually, everyone has a right to a free and a fair trial before prosecution. So akho umuntu ekumele avela uvuka kusasa seboshwe and akaze abizwe kuthiwe okay, come and set your case. Why did you not attend the commission? Akwazi ukuthi achaze kahle and then bese icala liqulwe just like any kusekwenzeka in any case. So azange yenze yonke lento, which makes it a bit unfair towards ubaba uMsholozi.
Izwe laseNingizimu Afrika libuswa ngokwentando yeningi kunanomthetho sisekelo futhi kona konke lokho ohambisana nakho ukubuswa kwezwe ngokwentando yeningi. Emuva kokuthi iConcord ikhiphe isinqumo sokuthi noma isigwebo sokuthi kufanele ukuthi uJacob Zuma ahambe ayovalelwa noma azinikele emaphoyiseni la ezogwetshwa khona amasonto izinyanga eziwu-15, abantu abaningi bahambile bayonkanisa ngaphandle komuzi wakhe umnumzane uJacob Zuma bephikisana nokuthi-ke azinikele emaphoyiseni. Lokho singakuthatha ngokuthi abantu on the ground level ebebefuna noma ebebengathanda ukuthi isinqumo lesi secourt kube ukuthi siyasebenza ngaleyo ndlela. Ngamanye amazwi bekuyintando yabantu ukuthi uJacob Zuma angaya ejele, kodwa kwabukeka zonke lezo zinto zishaywa indiva kwaze kwagcina kuba khona-ke ama-protest lawa abekhona, kwaluthwa izinto nazo zonke lezo zinto. Singasho yini ukuthi kwesinye isikhathi singabuka sibone engazuthi umthetho ubuye wenzelele ezintweni ezithize, ufuna ukuthi usebenzise amandla awo ukukhombisa ukuthi wona ungaphezulu kwabantu nakuba kuyizwe lentando yeningi?
Well, we must understand one thing, ukuthi umthetho awuyi ngokuthi abantu bathini. Umthetho uya ngokuthi wona uthini.
Okay.
So asikwazi ukuthi just because sithi umuntu sithi nangu umuntu ureyphile la, ureyphile ingane, bese umphakathi uzothi cha, akakwazi ukuthi lo muntu aboshwe, bese inkantolo ithi ngoba abantu bathi akangaboshwa bese kuthiwa akangaboshwa. So it cannot happen like that. Umthetho kumele udlale indima yawo irregardless of ukuthi abantu bathini. Akumelanga kube khona isituation whereby kuzothi umthetho ulentoza ungathini ulalele izimvo zabantu instead of ukuthi kubheke ubufakazi obusebungaphambili kwawo ukuthi kwenzeka kanjani. So I'm going to end there ukuthi nje umthetho kumele udlale indima yawo.
Alright, sabona-ke kuqubuka ama-protest futhi angeke ngikubize ngama-protest ngoba siyazi ukuthi i-protest okunye kusuke mhlawumbe khona abaholi bayo ama-protest, khona i-memorandum yohlulwe izikhalo nazo zonke izinto ezikanjalo. Kodwa sikubonile la ukuthi kuvele nje kwakuba nombhidlango ukuthi abantu bavele bavandalize izitolo, bamoshe, baluthe, benze yonke into ekanjalo. Sabona-ke amaphoyisa nabaphathi bamaphoyisa indlela abayisingathe ngayo yonke leyo nto leyo. Ungathini, kube kuhle basingathe kahle, kuhambe kanjani?
Well, I think perhaps I must firstly analyze indaba yama-protest before I even go further. I think we must understand one thing about ama-protest or about this whole thing.
Yes.
Firstly, aqala ukuthi kwenzeke lesimo esenzekile la South Africa. Just that kuyaqala ukuthi si-escalate ngale ndlela ibe influential ngale ndlela indlela ekwenzeke ngayo.
Okay.
In a lot of cases, if kuukuthi kuba government wethu has made us believe ukuthi in order for people to be heard, they must be violent. Because you must understand ukuthi government ungahamba manje nimashe nisuke laphana nishonele enzansi nimasha niphethe memorandum ni-deliver. That will be the end of it. Abazubuya even ukubuya nempendulo bazonichazela ukuthi i-memorandum ilento zani izikhalazo zeni iziphendulo ezathiwani and stuff. Even if they do, bazoqhamuka nama-answers ovela ubona ukuthi they are not even interested. So in order for government to hear people, everything must be violent. That is what the government has made us to that is the language we were taught by our government. So it is very important to government yena qala azinuka amakhwapha ukuthi how does he deal with things. So if kuukuthi government yakwazi ukuthi azinuka amakhwapha yena zingakwazi ukuthi izinto zibuyele esimeni. So going forward, let us talk about the looting. Nayo indaba ye-looting ayiyona into yokuqala kwayo. We've seen during ama-protest kwama-xenophobic attacks ukuthi people would chase people out of their shops bese balutha bathathe iy'mpahla zabo bawusebenzisa. That on its own must make you question yourself ukuthi why is that? It shows ukuthi there is a huge problem in South Africa ukuthi every time there's a protest the looting is going to be there. This one game it got very 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 influential or yes yaphuma esandleni yagcwala the entire province even to iGauteng, because people the motive behind this looting, the motive behind ukuteleka was uJacob Zuma, but eyokulutha it's something that transpired along the way. It's something eyenzeke because people are hungry. And people saw an opportunity. Okay, nasi isitolo sesiyagqekezwa, nasi isitolo sesiyavala, sesiyaphihlizwa. Let us take from them. Let us take what is inside, because we are hungry at the end of the day. We don't know what we are going to eat. So indlela ke ugovernment ayisingathe ngayo, amaseke ukuthi indlela ayisingathe ngayo it shows a total failure from government wethu. It shows ukuthi government wethu is not capable to deal with situations like this, because we must understand ukuthi even the deployment of soldiers they were deployed very late. They were deployed isimo sesivele sesi-settled, sesithanda ukudamba. So that shows ukuthi ugovernment wethu is incapable, because ugovernment wethu uqale wayi-ignore this entire situation, wayithatha as if it's something enga-exist, right? Wathi ku-circulate ama-videos amadala instead of ukuthi azame ukuthi adambise isimo, instead of ukuthi if ukuthi ugovernment wethu wangenelela from day one, isimo besike escalate ngale ndlela, but wazama ukuyiziba yonke le nto, wayithatha wayifaka under carpet, washaya sengathi there's nothing happening, of which there was, and then a lot was happening. So
ngokwakho Mr Mbuthuma, ukubizwa kwamasosha ngabe mhlawumbe kube i-call e-right yini? Ayikho enye indlela ugovernment abengayisebenzisa ukuzama ukuthi adambise isimo?
Well, I believe ukuthi ukubizwa kwamasosha shows how our government is incapable. For the fact that government uhlulwa abantu bawo ukuthi angaze wabizela amasosha. Amasosha must understand ukuthi amasosha they are there, or military as a whole, it is there to deal with exterior enemies. We must deal amasosha kumele ahlale kuma-borders adile nokuthi i-South Africa ibe protected from outside enemies, not ukuthi asuka amasosha azo-intimidate abantu within the borders of i-country. They must go out and fight outside the country, not within the country, unless ukuthi khona izwe elizolwa ne-South Africa. That is where we must see ukuthi i-South Africa i-capable kangakanani when it comes to amasosha. But as for ukuthi ugovernment deploy amasosha within us, it shows ukuthi ugovernment wethu is incapable to deal with its citizens. Ziningi indlela ugovernment ebengadila ngazo nale situation without having to involve amasosha. There was no need at all.
Do you blame abantu ngokuthi babone abanye belutha nabo base bethi cha siyafa sonke indlala, bangena ezitolo nabo bayitapela?
I don't blame them at all. I don't blame them at all. I don't lie. People saw the opportunity and they used it. The only thing I can blame from people is to destroy black-owned businesses. That's the only thing I can blame them for, because there was no need for them to destroy black-owned businesses. You must understand ukuthi abantu abamnyama aba-own amabhizinisi first and foremost abantu abasuke besazama, abantu abasuke besafufusa, they have nothing. But all these white-owned businesses, they've got everything. They are covered with insurances, they have everything. Like kusakuningi la bathatha khona. So whether they loot from them or they do not, ababe affected in that much from them. Ababe affected at all, to be precise. So it doesn't do any different. But from black businesses, how do you take from someone osazama na ukuthi asimame engena loot? Otherwise I wouldn't blame people ababonela abantu beluta na bese beyaluta. I don't.
Kodwa ngabe lokho kusho ukuthi uyagqugquzela ukuthi kube nama-lootings and tontoni?
No, not necessarily ukuthi ngiyagqugquzela ukuthi people must loot. I'm not trying by all means ukuthi ngigqugquzele lokho. All I'm saying ukuthi nayo opportunity. Uyabona ukuthi nabo abantu bazolenda bayaluta. Either way, whether you are participate or not participate, either way the store is going to be looted. Either way. So it's either when you stop or you participate. You stop them or you participate. So you have an option. Which one? It's your choice to ukhethe, but you cannot just stand by ubesume eceleni and say no man, I didn't do it. At least if you do not wanna loot, then try to stop them from looting. In that way uzokwazi ukuthi asilutanga angilutanga mina ngibavimbile ukuthi baluthe, at least nothing, there was no damage done. But if ubabukela beloot, the damage is going to be done and it is going to affect you either way, whether you looted or not.
Nanka-ke amaphoyisa konke namasosha manje sekuthiwa bashaya u-door to door, bathatha zona lezi mpahla ebantwini abayiluthile. Abantu esazi kahle kamhlophe, ugovernment azi kahle kamhlophe ukuthi bayahlupheka, ingakho kuthe mangaba kuvalwa izwe kuba ne-lockdown wa-introduce into ye-social relief grant o-350. Kuyaziwa ukuthi i-South Africa majority yabantu abasebenzi, badonsa kanzima, badonsa ngamapayipi. Nako-ke sebelitholile ithuba lokuthi baluthe, bayithatha impahla sekuthunyelwa amasosha. Sazi kahle ezweni elinobugebengu obuxakile ngendlela eyisimanga, kunamagensa ashaya izimoto kumabhoda laphana aya koMozambique, kunenkinga yama-drugs eNingizimu Afrika, kunawomaligaju ababulala abantu badlwengule. Asikaze sizwe kuthiwa kuphume amasosha namaphoyisa ashaya door to door afuna lama-drugs nako konke lokhu. Mhlawumbe kuthini ukuphawula nanka namandiya siwabonile nawo laphayana ePhoenix, ngenxa yokuthi abantu kade beluthi iy'tolo zawo babesebona bethatha isinqumo sokuthi bazibambela ngezandla zabo umthetho. Asizwa lutho olukhulunywayo laphana abantu bomthetho. Mhlawumbe kuthini okwakho ukuphawula konke lokhu?
Again, this is going to go back to what I said before, which shows how incapable our government is. For the fact that government wethu ngathini asiqale la ekutheni ezintweni ezi-internal, there is no need for soldiers to be involved.
Yes.
Njengoba ukhuluma nawo ukuthi i-crime idla ubhedu, indaba ye-human trafficking and stuff ike yatrenda ngayo yonke indlela, akaze kubiza amaphoyisa because we understand, akubizwa amasosha I mean, because we understand ukuthi amasosha they deal with ama-matters are-external, amaphoyisa they deal with ama-matters are-internal. So ugovernment namanje usaprove ukuthi uyahluleka ukuthi amelane nalezi zinto. For this one aka door to door yokuthi kungenelwa abantu ezindlini bazokhishwa bazothatha impahla, that thing is very stupid. I understand that perhaps furniture, but to take food from people who are hungry, by the way, where are you going to take those food to? That is the question, because one thing we must understand, that is one thing esiyazi for sure ukuthi angeke sabuyela ezitolo lokudla okuthathwayo. So njengoba ngeke sabuyela ezitolo kuswap, perhaps ifurniture ska understand because perhaps isengabuyela ezitolo iphinde kwathi idayiselwa abantu, but ukudla kusiwaphi? That is the question esizibuza yona. So asikho isidingo sokuthi ngathini kulandwe lokudla. Second point ngale ndaba ka door to door, ikhona yini search warrant? Because phela ukwazi ukuthi ungene endlini yami ufike without a search warrant uzosesha endlini yami. So labantu, that's a question ekumele si understand, ekumele siyazi ukuthi do these people abangena door to door besesha bayayiproduce yini search warrant to come and search, or bafike bacindezele again ilungelo lethu, because it is my right I have a right to privacy and have a right not to be searched. I have a right ukuthi endlini yami ngidecide ukuthi ubani ongenayo or ubani ongangeni, unless you produce a search warrant. So if these people do not produce a search warrant, it means ukuthi bazongena ngenkani endlini yami without me approving ukuthi bangene endlini yami, which means ilungelo lami seliyanyatheleka already. Yes. Yamandiya, how can I forget? I think perhaps before nje siye kule yokubulalana kwawo, must firstly speak to this one of ukuthi benza ama-roadblocks amandiya nabantu nabelungu. It shows ukuthi how incapable our government is, ukuthi avumele ukuthi kube nabantu who are not officials, who are not police officials, who are not anything, to go benze ama-roadblocks. It shows ukuthi how incapable our government is. It cannot happen and it cannot be okay. It is not something engamele siyishayile izandla ukuthi kube khona abantu abavala imigwaqo bevalela abantu ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi bamove free. Everyone has a right to move, has a right to free movement in this country. It is our right. I have a right to go to any city or any town in this country without having to produce anything. So it is my right. Asikwazi ukuthi ke manje sibe nabantu who are not even officials. Mangivunja ngene fana ngivinja amaphoyisa, not by people abangawona. Everyone ongivimba kumele produce badge ukuthi I am this, ukuthi I am a police officer, I am a whatever. But you cannot just ukuthume emgwaqweni usingakwazi nokuthi uyini wena qala. Who are you? Just because you are white or you are an Indian, just because you are an Indian, should you are a security official or you are a police official? No, it cannot be. It shows that our government is incapable. And to make things worse, bayishela izandla yonke lento. Bese siyekile ukubulawa kwabantu, nalo ukubulawa kwabantu kubhlungu kakhulu ukuthi khona ama-leaders avela komabonakude eshayela izandla yona lento ukuthi abantu babulawa isokwezinja ePhoenix. Not even ePhoenix, khona la eHarding, people were killed like dogs and nothing is happening. Nothing. Ayikho into okhulunywa about that thing. Into ekudilwa nayo ukuthi angene door to door kuphuca abantu ukudla. Abantu abalambile, by the way. Ugovernment wethu wenzani about these people ababulawa kwezinja? Kanti indaba ukuthi umthetho awuthathelwe ezandleni iqala phi iphele kuphi? Does it change uma ngabe umuntu osemhlophe ngebani? Does it change uma ngabe umuntu ese-Indian? Does it change uma ngabe umuntu ese-Pakistan? Iqala iphellephi indaba ukuthi umthetho ongathathelwa ezandleni? Because this thing, it is wrong. It cannot be something avele ithulwe nje bese iphele kanjalo. Akwazi ngafika izidumbu zabantu abangaka kuthiwe e-police station kwenqabe abantu abalele lapha abangaka imizimba engaka-identify. Kuthiwa namhlanje kutholakala eminye imizimba emahlathini. Kuthiwa khona eminye imizimba etholakala emagroundini. So still nothing is happening about that thing. Akho kuboshwa, akho lutho esiyizwayo. Even ezindabeni they do not discuss such things. Upresident ubeveli namhlanje akazange akhulume lutho olutheni about lokubulawa kwabantu ongako kwenzekile khona ePhoenix. So it shows how incapable our government is.
Siphila ezweni mhlambe esingasho yini ukuthi lisacontrolwa abamhlophe futhi incindezelo noinsila yayo incindezela ayikakasuki. Ngikubuza lokhu ngenxa yokuthi sike sezwe ukuthi kwezinye izindawo abelungu bebevale izitolo zabo bethi ababavumela abantu abamnyama ukuthi bangene bathenge ngoba kuthiwa yibo ekade belutha kodwa bevumela abelungu kuphela. Sibe sazi kahle ukuthi akena wonke umuntu omnyama obeyiphathe and yokulutha futhi akekho umuntu obhaliwe noma ngabe mhlophe noma ngabe mnyama ukuthi lo uyisigebengu angalutha mangaphakathi noma ngeke akwenze lokho. Lento ye-racism nokucwasana ngokwebala ithini ihamba ifikephi ihandlishwa kanjani yona le ndaba le?
Well, perhaps asiqale la ukuthi there were pictures circulating of white people ababonakale nabo on their own belutha. But lokho akuyona into ethathelwa ingqalelo yona yonke le nto zabo. Abantu abamhlophe bayenza yonke lento, bavimba emigwaqweni, bavimba kuma malls, benza yonke lento abafuna ukuyenza. Bavimbela abantu abamnyama ukuthi bangene. So this shows ukuthi as much as South Africa iphethwe upresident omnyama ngokwebala, it shows ukuthi South Africa isa controlwa abantu abamhlophe. It is something esike sesiphikiza. It is something engathini ezivelelayo anyway one way or another iyavela ukuthi iSouth Africa ubandlululo lusadleluphi. And it is painful. It is painful ukuthi singathi after 29 is it 29 or 27 years of democracy, it is painful ukuthi singase sihambile ibanga elingayo kube khona ama-incident afana nalawo bese futhi kungakhulunywa lutho ngawo. Ukuthulwe nje as if nothing happened. Akwazi ukuthi ngaba khona abantu abangakwazi ukuthi bavimbele abantu just because they are black. It cannot be. It's not okay.
Njengoba kungavumelekanga nokuthi umuntu abulala omunye ngoba nakwethi ubelutha, angithi naloko akuvumelekanga.
It cannot be. Akekho umuntu onelungelo lokubulala. Everyone has a right to life. Everyone, by the way. So akwazi ukuthi kube khona umuntu ozobulawa. Even umuntu engene la endlini wangena kwami trespass abesikamdubula. Ngivulelwa icase.
Ake mhlambe singene embuzweni wokugcina njengamanje akona okugcina kodwa wandulelo wokugcina ukuthi what can be the solution kuyo yonke lento yokubheduka kwezwe ngalendlela. I-protest ngabe ibizoba nawo yini amandla ukuthi iguqule isimo somnotho ezweni ubuyele ezandleni zabantu abamnyama omnotho, nanokuthi lento iqale ibizwa ngokuthi Free Jacob Zuma ejele. But ukube iqhubekile waphuma upresident noma uformer president uJacob Zuma ibizolizuzisa ngani izwe, ikuphi mhlambe obengathi mangaba kuthiwa kuyenziwa kukwazi ukuthi kubenefite izwe lonke, ngoba ngendlela engiyibuka ngayo mina ngibuka lana i-white monopoly capital ibhekene ngqo ne-radical economic transformation. Kusho ukuthi abanye mabephazamiseka abanye bafuna ukugudluza abanye ukuthi isinkwa sethu lesi, indawo yethu le, umzila wethu lo, anikwazi ukuthi nina nizonyathela la. So mangaba sebebona ukuthi engathi sesiyanyatheleka benza ngayo yonke indlela ukuthi bamshaye bamphebeze isandla ukuthi susa sifunani isandla sakho la endaweni yethu. Yini engaba isisombululo kuyo yonke lento yokuthi kube nalombango wokuthi i-white monopoly capital ishaye i-radical transformation bese futhi kube nalama protest ukuthi kugcina kuluthwa ezitolo kwenzela ukuthi umnotho kodwa ugcina ukwazile ukuthi ubuyele ebantwini abamnyama?
Well, I believe in one thing, Sam. Let us remove ANC from power.
Okay.
That can be the best solution that we can ever come up with. Well, removing ANC from power could give us a lot of options, because firstly it is going to allow us to be able to choose. It is going to allow us ukuthi sikwazi ukutesta ama-options esinawo la eSouth Africa. It is going to allow us ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sibone ukuthi enye inhlangano ingenza kanjani, ingakwazi yini ukuthi isinikeze lokho esikufunayo. Because we must understand ukuthi we do have political power. So what we need now is economic power. How do we then achieve economic power? Because it has been clear from day one ukuthi it is clear actually now ukuthi economic power ngeke sesiyithola under the government of the ANC. Because if I can ask you ukuthi yes uzophuma manje uRamaphosa izophela i-term yakhe, if ephuma, who is going to bring us that? We've been talking about the expropriation of land without compensation. Approve everything has been approved. Iparliament la approve kwenziwa ama-public consultations, kwabuya futhi ayikho manje into ecacayo ukuthi what is the direction towards the expropriation of land without compensation. So what do? We have to remove the current government. In that way, if we remove the current government, we are going to be able to replace the current government with with an organization that is promising, with an organization that speaks about economic freedom. We cannot remove ANC and put an organization as of figure eBay, the second ANC or even Western ANC. We cannot remove ANC basis organization now that speaks about white monopoly capital, that supports white monopoly capital. We have to remove this ANC and put an organization in power that is going to be able to bring us economic freedom. In that way, sizokwazi ukuthi sithole le economic freedom esifunayo.
Are you now campaigning for your organization? Njengoba uke washo wathi i-organization okuyona ngokwezepolitiki, Economic Freedom Fighters, ngabe nje manje ucampaignela yona?
Well, this is not a campaign per se, but it is a reality. It is a fact. Where we've seen for ourselves how incapable the current organization is. We've seen for ourselves ukuthi iyahluleka kanjani ukuthi imelane nelentozana ne-white monopoly capital. One of the reasons why ihluleka, by the way, is because there are a lot of spies within this organization. There are a lot of people who are controlled by white monopoly capital within this organization. So we do not know ukuthi ubani omuphi, ubani onjani, ubani right, ubani. So now the problem is that the entire organization is rotten to the core. And the corruption has been normalized in this organization. So we cannot then put ngathi organization efana nalena to remain in power. Otherwise izosibuyisela back to square one. We're going to go back to square one, and it is going to be very difficult for us to recover. So the best solution, let us remove them from power. Sikwazi bazojoyina uma bese kufika isikhathi sokuthi bajoyine, sesikwazi ukuthi sithole lo mnotho esiwufunayo back. That is what we need. The economy. Once akwazi ukuthi sithole i-economy, sekwazi ukuthi simove forward. Because asikwazi ukuthi singathi siyi-country sibe umnotho wethu ucontrolwa abanye abantu, sibe thina sithi no, izwe lethu selakhululeka. Lekakhululeka uma ngabe umnotho ungakabuyeli ebantwini.
Siqale ingxoxo yethu ukhulume ngokuthi indlela engakwazi ukuthi ibe isisombululo sokuthi kuliwe ne-white monopoly capital, ama-cardinal pillars awu-7 awe-economic freedom fighters. Ngakucela-ke ukuthi uzokusiphe wona siweze ukuthi athini achaza ukuthini.
Well, there are 7. Angizukudwela kakhulu much in explaining them. I'll just be brief as possible, because it is going to consume a lot of time if we explain in detail.
All right.
It's expropriation of land without compensation.
Abaningi ngiyazi
equal redistribution.
Ngiyazi ukuthi abaningi bayafuna ukuyazi leyo, ngoba bahlezi bebuza ukuthi mangaba-ke sowuthathiwe-ke umhlaba banganxephezelwa, ithini iplan yokuthi usetshenzwe, ngoba abantu abamnyama babukeka engazuthi bayamavila ngokusho-ke kwabantu ngaphandle.
Well, it is simple. The state is going to be the custodian of the land. According to EFF, by the way, the state is going to be the custodian of the land. It is the one that is going to decide who takes this land and how they take this land. And how are they going to use this land? It is going to be people who are going to then apply with, I've seen this piece of land, and I see what this piece of land is unoccupied. So can I utilize this piece of land? You are not going to pay for that piece of land. You are going to get the land free of charge to utilize that land. So each and every land must be under the custodianship of the state. Each and every person is going to apply for that land, black and white. No one is going. Everyone is going to apply for a particular for food. But obviously, the privilege should be given black people, the indigenous people of South Africa.
All right. Pillar number 2.
Pillar number 2 is going to be the nationalization of mines, banks, and other strategic sectors of the economy. Again, that one speaks about ukuthi fanele uthaphela izithathwe lezi zinto ezibambe umnotho kakhulu. When we're talking about those things, we're talking about ama-mines. Ama-mines kumele nawo abe under government. That means ama-mines, nama-bank, and everything, and every other strategic sector of the economy, they must be owned by the state. But yabona ukuthi if kuukuthi yonke lento yenzeka under ugovernment ka-ANC ukuthi ngeke kuze kube possible. Uya-imagine ukuthi kuyimanje ama-parastatals they are failing. Uya-imagine ukuthi manje even u-SAA has been sold to a certain company according to ilentozana i-statement sika-Pravin Gordhan. Because why? They are failing. So it shows ukuthi ugovernment ka-ANC is incapable. So if usingathatha ilentozana umhlaba sobuyisela ebantwini kube kusaphethe u-ANC, it will be a total failure. If usingathatha ilentozana izimine nama-bank so the state, total failure futhi our government can see. That's why we need to change the government.
Pillar number 3.
It's going to be the question I was about. We need to build the state and the government capacity which will lead to the abolishment of tenders. Again, it speaks to what I was saying ukuthi ANC is not capable.
Yeah.
If kungathiwa senzezana creator what do you call this, i-capacity ukuthi azakhele yena azenzele yena into under ANC, again it will be a total disaster. So we need ukuthi i-state isikwazi ukuthi sizimele. If kune-bridge ekumele lakhiwe, i-state must build that bridge on its own. Sikwazi ukuthi siqashe abantu kwakhiwe lelo bridge. If kuukuthi kunesikole, whatever it is that needs to be built, the state must be able to do that, to ngathini ukuthi ikwazi ukuthi ithathe lowo msebenzi, i-state on its own. So kumele umasipala nomasipala ube ne-department ozobe dealer with a certain thing ezidingwa umasipala instead of ukuthi kukhishwe amathenda, because indaba yokukhishwa amathenda yenza ukuthi kudliwe izimali budlabha, yenza ukuthi kube ne-corruption unnecessary. Kanti uma ngabe ukuthi ugovernment uyazenzela zonke izinto, it will be very much easier to trace imali ukuthi le iphume yaya ukuthi yenza 1 no 2 no 3, everything is going easy. If ukuthi kwenzeka kanjalo, angeke kuze kube lula ukuthi i-corruption yenze ngale ndlela yenzeka ngayo. Yes.
The next cardinal pillar.
Free quality education, healthcare, household, and sanitation. That one is simple. Ayidingi ukuthi ichazwe. Sifuna nje ukuthi i-education ibe mahala, sifuna ukuthi i-healthcare ibe mahala, sifuna ukuthi abantu bathole izindlu mahala, sifuna ukuthi abantu bathole ama-toilet mahala. Those are basic needs in every country. Basic needs and it should be free. It should be quality. Healthcare should be quality. Asikwazi ukuthi singaba ne-healthcare whereby government officials, when they need to be treated, they go outside because they know exactly that healthcare yezwe labo is not of good quality. So we must build a quality healthcare. We must build quality education. We must have quality. Everything must be quality. Yes. Right. Pillar number 6, massive development of Africa economy and advocating of African economy and advocating for a move from reconciliation to justice. Again, this one speaks about ukuthi ke manje kumele sidile nokuthi i-Africa as a whole ayikwazi ukuthi ibe nomnotho, ikhule ngokomnotho, because if usikhuluma ngelentozana ngendaba yokuthi sifuna ukubuyisa umhlaba, sifuna umnotho ubuyele ebantwini, this thing must not only happen in South Africa, it must happen even abroad. It must happen in Africa as a whole. In that way sizokwazi ukuthi simelane nalamazwe amakhulu athanda ukuthi acindezele i-Africa, because i-Africa ikamachanci ikampunzi edlemini. Wonke amazwe afuna ukuza la e-Africa enze ngendlela athanda ngayo, because why? We are ngathini sihlukena, sikho united. So if usingabumbana as African countries bese sikwazi ukuthi siqinise umnotho wethu, everything would be possible. And then pillar number 7,
the last one,
open, accountable government and society without fear of victimization by state, defense, police, and other agencies. I mean, lana sikhuluma ukuthi government must be accountable to the people. And ugovernment akumelanga ukuthi uma ngabe sifuna ukuthi account abese asisabise ngelentozana ngamaphoyisa, asisabise nawo wonke ama-state security agencies. Ugovernment kumele akwazi ukuthi adlale indima yakhe. Ugovernment kumele azi ukuthi yeyiphi indima yakhe, uma ngabe engayenzanga kumele eze ebantwini azo-account, simple like that. So if singathatha wonke lama pillars bese siyawa-apply, everything could be in order. Everything ingakwazi ukuthi umnotho wethu ubuyele kuthina njengabantu abamnyama. In that way singakwazi ukuthi izwe libuyele ebantwini. In that way singakwazi ukuthi umhlaba ubuyele ebantwini, umnotho ubuyele ebantwini, because manje as we speak ayikho into esingayilentoza esingayijabulela sithi no, I'm a South African. Who do you own? We own nothing. We own no land, we own no malls, but people are going around befuna ukuyovikela ama-malls abangawa-own. Ngisho uwa-own ama-malls, by the way, akhokheliwe by ama-insurance companies, azokhokhelwa asazokhokhelwa angakakhokhelwa, but people were trying by all means to impress white people, of which I do not blame them. I blame white supremacy. I blame the mental slavery efakwe ebantwini amandla.
Umkhankaso khona uthi free Zuma, khona lapho kuthiwe Ramaphosa must fall, wena uthini? Sesiyaphetha manje.
ANC must fall.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Loyo ke umfoka Mbuthuma Sakhisizwe obesithatha sibeka isitshela ke uvo lwakhe ekuthenini yena ucabanga ukuthi ke izinkinga ezibhekene nezwe zingalungiswa kanjani. Uphuma lapha kwi-Harding Youth Society organization yabantu abasha egxila kakhulu ekwenzeni ama-programs athuthukisa ke abantu ke abasha. Sivale lapho singasamosha isikhathi esiningi kakhulu. Wena nje uzosubscribe khona la kwi-YouTube channel yethu. Kube mnandi nje, kube njalo, soloku sixoxele nje, soloku sibalandile abantu abasha. Nawe mawufuna ukuthi uphawule khona la kule nkundla yethu, si-inbox nje kulula kakhulu kwi-page lethu Insimbi online radio page. Kanti futhi ungazithola indaba zishisa kwi-website yethu www.insimbinews.co.za. Umphathi wakanonkosi uthi ayixabene.